Okay, pleasant afternoon to everyone. So this afternoon, I will be sharing with you our research about the vascular plant diversity and forest structure in one of the mountain ecosystems in Mindanao. So yesterday, our professor, Dr. Amoroso, have shared the biodiversity of the two mountain ecosystems in Mindanao. And this is another mountain ecosystem which is located in our province, which is in Bukidnon, in the island of Mindanao in the Philippines. And basically, the Philippines is one of the mega-diverse countries, and also at the same time, it is also considered as a biodiversity hotspot, so which our flora and fauna are not spared from these different threats to our biodiversity, such as the habitat destruction, invasive species, pollution, and overcollection. And so, with here, the Philippines is really diverse when it comes to its flora, and there are about 9,500 species of vascular plants, and about 50% of these are endemic to the country. And as you can see here, for the data for the mammals and birds also, there's a high diversity and also there's a high endemism. And why Mindanao? So Mindanao is located in the southern part of the island in the Philippines, and this is the second largest island in the Philippines, and many of the mountain ecosystems in Mindanao are unexplored or unbotanized. So that is why we selected this one of the sites, which is the Mount Timbawon, which is part of the Mount Tago range. And just to give you a brief background about the forest types or formations in the Philippines, so way back in 1911, Whitford, Tan, and Rojo in 1988, they were able to describe, classify, and reclassify the different forest types in the Philippines. And in 2008, Fernando et al., Fernando together with his colleague, Korean colleague with Dr. Su and Dr. Lee, they were able to recognize 12 forest types in the Philippines. And so, Moroso et al. In 2009 and 2011, they were also able to observe these different forest types or forest formations in the island of Mindanao. So these are the different threats to our forest ecosystem in the island of Mindanao. So we have here deforestation, poaching, overcollections, and many others. And these are still happening not only in the island of Mindanao, but also in Luzon and in Visayas islands. And so, we have here the Mindanao PAMBI network. So the PAMBI stands for Protected Area Management Board. So this is the network of all the protected areas in Mindanao. And they always emphasize the need to conduct biodiversity assessment or resource management. So that is why, actually in the Philippines, it is the mandate of the DNR, or the Department of Environment and Natural Resources, to protect and conserve our natural resources. But unfortunately, they lack technical expertise, so that's why the academic help this agency to document our flora and fauna so that they have the basis in conserving and protecting these areas. So basically, the main objective of this study is to determine the plant diversity and also to know what are the forest types or vegetation types present in this mountain ecosystem. And this is the flow of the methodology. So in the Philippines, if you're going to conduct biodiversity studies, it is really needed to have a permit from the indigenous community. And also, aside from the permit from the indigenous communities or from the IPs, we need to obtain a gratuitous permit from the DNR. And with that, we're able to establish 24 sampling plots, or 24 20 by 20, of which 8 20 by 20 sampling plots were established in the three vegetation types. And then we're able to conduct a repeated transit walk from the foot of the mountain, going to the peak of the mountain. And also, we're able to analyze the soil and also record the temperature and relative humidity. And then we also computed the SIV, the species importance values of the different plant groups. And then we collect the specimens scientifically, and then we identify the specimens, and we produce this checklist and database of plants. And then also we assess their conservation status based on the IUCN and also based on the regional listing of the Philippine government. And then eventually we provided science-based policy recommendation for this local community. And this is the Philippines. So the Philippines is located just right below Taiwan and up above the Borneo and Sulawesi. And this is the island of Mindanao, and that's the study site. It's somewhere in the northern part of the island of Mindanao. And this is just to show the transit map showing our transit walk So this is the local community down and going up to the summit. And the yellow one here, these are our sampling plots, 20 by 20 sampling plots. So we have here the plots for the lower mountain forest, the upper mountain forest, and with the last one is the mossy pygmy forest, which is a quite unique forest types. And here, this is just to show how we did the sampling. Of course, we established a 20 by 20 sampling plots in the 3 vegetation types. And we collected the specimens, and then we processed the specimens, and all these specimens were deposited in our herbarium. So we have the Central Mindanao University herbarium. And of course, for the identification, so we made use of this, the Global Plant Store. I think you're familiar with this one, so you can check the type specimens. You can compare your specimens with the herbarium specimens present in this website. And also, we asked experts to verify our collections. And so, as to the result, we documented a total of 409 species of vascular plants, and about 200 plus are the angiosperms or the flowering plants, and then we have here the blue one, the ferns and lycophytes, and there is a low richness when it comes to the gymnosperms. And here, if we try to compare the richness of the ferns and lycophytes in different locations in the Philippines, so it ranked number 8 when it comes to the richness for the ferns and lycophytes, and if we compare it with the other locations in the Philippines for the flowering plants or the angiosperms, so it ranked number 5. And here, this is just to show the different families with the most number of species. So we have here the family Polypodiaceae, Hymenophyllaceae, Linceaceae, Cerathiaceae. These are the tree ferns, and the Theridaceae. And this is just to show some of the photos of the species of the family Polypodiaceae, the Hymenophyllaceae or the filmy ferns, and then we have here the Linceaceae. And for the flowering plants or for the angiosperms, so we have here the most number, of course, Orchidaceae and Rubiaceae and Melastomataceae and others. So this is just to show the representative species of the orchids, of the family Orchidaceae. We have Bulbophyllum and so on. The coffee family, Rubiaceae, and then we have these, the melastomes or the species under the Melastomataceae. And also for the gymnosperms, so there's a very low diversity or richness of gymnosperms in the Philippines, so that's expected because we're in the tropical country. So that is why there's a low richness for the gymnosperms. So we only have 8 species, 7 of that is under the family Podocarpaceae, and 1 is under the family Araucariaceae. And this is just to show the representative species of the gymnosperms. And this is the mountain. So here, that's the lower mountain forest. Here, the upper mountain forest, and above is the mossy pygmy forest. So basically, the vegetation types were adopted, or were using the criteria made by Fernando and together with his colleague. And this is just to show inside the upper mountain forest. So as you can see here, the trees are covered with mosses and liverworts and other epiphytes, ferns, and inside the mossy pygmy forest. So what is unique about this vegetation is that, as you can see here, it is called mossy, but technically, what are the species common in this area are liverworts, not mosses. Okay, so this is the mossy pygmy forest, and this is the panoramic view of the mossy pygmy forest, so on top of Mount Limbawan. So when it comes to the total number of 3 species, the highest number of species was recorded in the lower mountain forest, followed by the upper, and then least in the mossy pygmy forest. And when it comes to the number of individuals of 3 species, so we have here the upper mountain forest obtained the highest number of individuals, followed by the lower mountain forest, and the least in the mossy pygmy forest. And also for the species importance values, so we have computed for the different plant groups, for the ferns. So these are the top 5 species with high SIV for the lower mountain forest, for the upper mountain forest, and for the mossy pygmy forest. So these are for the ferns and lycophytes. And also for the trees, these are the species with the high species importance value, like the Syzygium, Lithocarpus, and so on, the upper mountain forest, and also for the mossy pygmy forest. And for the other historic plants, we also provided the high SIV. Especially most of these are orchids, and also including the pitcher plants. And what is unique is that all the species with high SIV, most of these are threatened and endemic species. So that is why there's a real need for us to conserve these mountain ecosystem. And for the species diversity, basically the upper mountain forest obtain the highest number of the values, followed by the lower mountain and least in the mossy pygmy forest. And when we try to check the similarities of the species between plants, so we have here all the plants established in the mossy pygmy forest grouped together, and also the upper mountain forest, and also the lower mountain forest. So which means that the species composition of the ferns and lithophyites in each vegetation type is very unique because they are grouped together. But for the trees we have here, the overlapping between the lower and the upper mountain forest, but basically the mossy pygmy forest has a very unique species composition when it comes to the trees. And for the other understory plants, same with the ferns, mossy pygmy forest, they group together the upper mountain and the lower mountain forest. And this is the corresponding analysis showing the three distinct clusters. And for the vast richness, of course, also the upper mountain forest obtain the highest number. And this is just to show the figure showing the vegetation types present in the mountain bowen. And for the assessment of ecological status, we have here a number of Mindanao and Philippine endemic species of vascular plants. And I need to share this one. The Philippines is now the #1 when it comes to the diversity of fisher plants. And in the study site, so we have here 3 site endemic species. So we have Nepenthes siciliae, Nepenthes batalanensis, and Nepenthes pulchra. So this is endemic to the mountain range and cannot be seen nowhere else in the other mountain ecosystems in Mindanao. And here, what is very unique is that this is the peak of Mountain Bowen. This is the mossy pygmy forest, and we're able to record this Drosera rotundifolia. Now, this is a carnivorous plant. This is a sanju, and this is very common in Japan and even in Korea. So this is the first report in the Philippines, particularly in this site, which is in Mindanao, which is in Mount Limbawan. So basically, the distribution is in the northern part, and then it's the first time to be reported in the Philippines. And this is an example of the disjunct distribution of the species. And we're able to publish this one in Lumea. And another interesting species are the Certhiaceae, or the scaly tree ferns. And we're able to document in Mindanao 21 species. And in this mountain ecosystem, we're able to report the new record of tree fern, which is Sophila comitata. And basically, this is originally distributed in Borneo. So this is expected because Borneo is just very near the Mindanao island. And we're able to publish this one also in Lumea. And this is just to show the Mindanao endemic species, the Philippine endemic species, and new records. Actually, we reported several new records for the islands of Mindanao. These are just an example. And new records for the locality. And for the conservation status, there are a lot. No, there are about 69 species are threatened based on the IUCN assessment. And also, here, this is the summary. So the mountain ecosystem is really rich when it comes to the richness of the plants, and also many endemic species were recorded, and also many of these are threatened species. Many new records in the island of Mindanao, new records for the Philippines, and basically this result will enhance the conservation in this mountain ecosystem, which is a Mount Limbawan. And for the recommendations here, so regular biodiversity monitoring should be conducted to detect change in species composition and forest conditions. Then second, long-term ecological plans should be established to track the vegetation trends and the effects of climate change. And lastly, strengthening the community-based conservation efforts is also vital to enhance local participation and ensure the protection and sustainable management of this biologically significant area. So before I end my presentation, I would like to acknowledge these institutions: the CMU Central Mindanao University, the DNR, the Department of Science and Technology, Forest Foundation Philippines, California Academy of Sciences, and the Botanical Research Institute of Texas. And with that, thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you very much. Just only one question. Okay, please.
Thank you for the why is it called mossy pygmy forest instead of orty pygmy forest?
Instead of
Or you said it's covered with liverwort.
liverworts, okay.
Also, why do you think there are less species of gymnosperms?
Okay, thank you for that question. So basically, the term mossy forest, actually that's the term used by Fernando for the forest types in the Philippines. But basically, when we check all the species that can be found in that vegetation, most of these are liverworts or leafy liverworts. So they are mistakenly identified as mosses. So when you check, those are leafy liverworts. Majority, I think 80% of those are liverworts. And also, your next question is about gymnosperm. Yeah, the Philippines is located in the tropical countries, so it's expected that the richness of the gymnosperms is very low because most of these gymnosperms are in temperate countries or regions. So that is why. So, but in this area, I think in the Philippines we have maybe about for all the gymnosperms, maybe we have about 100, but that's still low. No, but for this mountain, there's only 7 species.
Thank you. Thank you again.